Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we've got to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to be doing a breaking news segment on Wargaming's new balance overdue post that they made. But other than that, we are also going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the Iowa-class battleship, specifically USS Iowa. And 33 years ago today was the day that she had the turret explosion in the number 2 turret. If you guys would like to hear more about that and do a story that I actually went through the Wikipedia article and kind of went through everything, I will leave a video at the end of this that I did. It was, I think, last year in the Iowa. So I will make sure to link that video so that you guys can check it out. And now, for the balance overdue. This was a post that happened this morning, and it's got some fireworks, boys. I'm not going to lie. So, let's get right into it. The TLDR, concealment mod for more battleships. Kid gets defensive AA fire. Nagato gets buffed. Azuma gets buffed. Several Italian battleships get buffed. Italian premium cruisers get SAP shells as a test. And Weimar moves a tier up. And of course, they make that number 7, right? Little foreshadowing. All that in a couple of months. Read on for the details. Now, I am your source for the most entertaining patch notes available, right? That's me. So I do the reading, so you don't have to. All right, so here we go. We haven't had balance changes in a hot minute, and the set you're about to see is only to be introduced in a couple of months. However, knowing that these changes are fairly dramatic, we wanted to tell everyone in advance, so buckle up. Yeah, I would say dramatic is an understatement for what you're about to hear, boys. It's about to get spicy. Before getting to particular ships, there's news for high-tier battleship owners. A concealment mod will now be available for all Tier 6 to Legendary tier battleships. We don't expect the meta to shift much, but perhaps you'll come up with more creative builds. Who knows? No more will my American battleships get spotted at 15 kilometers. No more! We're gonna be sneaky. Sneaky boys. When we flank you and then hit you with the full broadside from the Kansas or the Montana or my Iowa. It's going to be glorious, boys. It's going to be glorious. Now, the meta, as they say, is not going to shift. But it's going to make my job a lot easier. No more getting spotted as soon as I start my turn at the beginning of a match. Now, that being said, starting light, we have an extra consumable for Kid. Defensive AA fire, which can be used in place of engine boost. The number of aircraft carriers at higher tiers is slowly growing, and Kid is one of the ships that may benefit significantly from such a consumable. Moving on. Now, if you guys aren't aware of what happens here, like anytime they start to bring in new things, they usually test it on premiums first. So that's why you see the Kid get the defensive AA consumable. I imagine we'll see more destroyers with that in coming months. But moving on, we got Nagato, the ever controversial Japanese battleship that deleted enemies with one salvo and missed entirely with the next, started showing some cracks in her potential. We're addressing it indirectly by boosting her damage per minute numbers. Namely, she gets 29 seconds of main gun reload down from 32 seconds, as well as AP shell maximum damage boosted up to 12,600 from 12,100. This may actually look more effective than it actually is, but we're sure the ship should now fall in line better with her immediate rivals. So no accuracy being added, but they are adding 3-second buff to the main guns. The damage, meh. But the buff to the guns is a big deal is in terms of DPM. So getting a 3-second faster reload is going to be nice. Staying with Japan, there's a ship that unfortunately didn't quite live up to our hopes in more ways than one. And that is Azuma. We're giving her the deluxe treatment. 7.5% better shell grouping. 24-second main gun reload down from 26. HE shell damage boosted from 5,100 or boosted to 5100, which is an extra 600 more damage, and AP damage up to 8650, which is 500 more. However, as these buffs are quite significant, we're also making her AP shells start ricocheting at a 45-degree angle, down from the 50 they used to be. So it gets a slight nerf in AP penetration angles, which, I mean, more often than not, you're shooting HE out of the Azuma anyway, so you're not going to notice that. However, maybe those shots you get on the broadside of Laddie, if he's slightly angled, probably not going to go through, and Citadel the way this thing did in my video. But yeah, it's good to see it's getting a little bit of love. It needed it, especially in the DPM side of things with the faster gun reload. It's not a huge change, but it is a nice little change, 2 seconds, plus the extra damage and all of that, so you gotta love it. Continuing the Battleship Fiesta, we're also touching up the Italians. Conte de Cavour main gun reload improves to 27 seconds from the regular 30, and so does this stat for her big sister Andrea Doria. The top dog, Vittorio Veneto, receives a quicker gun reload as well, 31 seconds instead of 34. And if you thought we forgot about Roma, we didn't. While she isn't losing to anyone significantly, a small overhaul was due. Roma gets some of the Vittorio Veneto perks, including HE shells with maximum damage of 5800 instead of 5100, as well as her smoke generator in the 3rd slot, which is a big deal. The plain and enhanced secondary targeting consumables are moving to the 4th slot. The overarching theme for Italian battleships is that we wanted them to dish out a bit more damage, as their other vitals look quite healthy. Well, here you want them to dish out more damage. You also want people to run a tank build on these, which is why you only had a tank build commander until very recently with the pay-to-win commander that is now the dispersion build commander. So here's an idea. Give them longer range secondaries. They already have the SAP secondaries, except for Roma, of course. The tech tree battleships have the SAP secondaries, so give them 6.7 or 7 kilometer base range on the secondaries so that those SAP secondaries are actually usable by people outside of 5 kilometers. Just a thought. I know, I'm just a big dumb battleship player, I don't know anything, but just saying, that would increase their damage. Anyway, it doesn't stop there for the Regia Marina, and this here is perhaps the best slice of pizza so far. We're ready to begin the SAP public test of sorts by adding SAP modules to the following premium cruisers. Of course, it starts with the premiums. Wouldn't want to bring them out to the tech tree, would we? Gorizia, Duca d'Aosta, Genova, and Duca degli Abruzzi. So, yeah, I do apologize to everybody in Italy for absolutely murdering these, but I try. I am an equal opportunity murderer when it comes to language. I'm not going to lie. I cannot pronounce. I'm lucky to get through English, all right? And the British folks would argue that I can't even do that. So, you're welcome. I do not discriminate when it comes to absolutely destroying languages, okay? But, yeah, so the premium Italian cruisers are getting a chance to use SAP for the first time. It's going to be a module, so you'll get to choose whether you want to use it or not, which is, I think, actually the best way to do this. Not everybody is going to like losing their HE shells in place of SAP. You're not going to be able to set fires, but SAP is just better. And I think the Italian cruisers have been long overdue waiting for their SAP. So, looking forward to this as a test and also hopefully getting implemented in the main line of cruisers. As we have no experience with SAP shell main batteries, we reserve the right to tweak these shells either way. Remember that statement. We reserve the right to tweak. Also, we reserve the right to twerk. It's a thing. The modules with SAP shells are optional and replace HE shells when installed, so you will have a choice between SAP and AP armament. Finally, the biggest and most controversial news item we have is that we plan to move the infamous Weimar a tier up. It's true that the cruiser turned out to be significantly stronger than we imagined she would. No shit. Sorry for my language. And while she started going down in her win rate and damage numbers due to players adapting to her, it seems that there's no way around the need to call her power. As it stands, she fits nearly perfectly at Tier 7. And the only thing to change would be her economics. Understandably, you will have questions and comments about whether you can exchange the ship, and we will reveal our strategy for dealing with any Weimars that become unwanted as we move closer to the fact. Obviously, if she is suddenly too weak at the new tier, we'll be ready to apply the good old buffing wax, as this isn't something we've ever done before. Thanks for reading, happy theory crafting, and turn the tide. So, for the first time that I can remember on World of Warships Legends, we are getting a nerf to a premium ship. And it's a big one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Now, Wargaming has always said that they reserve the right to balance even premium ships. Ships that you buy. They're not set in stone. This was also a thing with World of Tanks console, I remember, with the E25. The E25 was a big deal. Why? Because it was a premium tank and everybody knew it was overpowered. It's La Cucaracha, it's the little cockroach. It is absolutely overpowered in every way possible for its tier. And all hell broke loose when Wargaming slightly nerfed her. And that was slightly nerfed her. So, Wargaming has already been hard at work in the Discord server dealing with the backlash of angry people typing away on their keyboards saying, "Oh my god, I want a refund, I want this, I want this, I want this." But let's be real, folks. Every single person who has owned the Weimar has absolutely dominated in the Weimar. And I say every single person. We all know that there are people out there that bought the Weimar that have no idea what they're doing and get absolutely obliterated. We've seen it on videos and in streams. You guys know that it's a thing. There are always going to be potatoes, and some of those potatoes have money that they're willing to spend on premium ships that even when their OP is crap, they can't do that well in. Namely because people just lack basic understanding of how to play the game. However, in the hands of an experienced player, doesn't even have to be a good player, okay? In the hands of an experienced player, Weimar was incredibly powerful. There's one other Tier 6 cruiser that I can think of that is having similar effect, and some might argue even more effect, and that is Talin. So I expect Talin to get the nerf hammer in the near future as well. If they're willing to nerf the Weimar, they are definitely willing to nerf the Talin. And Talin is also, that AP is God tier. And do not get it twisted. So, I am just going to call it now. I know, it's rough, right? It's a very difficult call. Just really reaching out in left field for this one. No, it's pretty obvious. They're going to end up nerfing it. It is definitely got to be overperforming, as they like to use the term. So, let me know what you guys think. Is this a good thing? I think it's a good thing for the game, personally. But, as somebody who also, has the Weimar, I get to deal with it. Now, I don't think it's going to hurt people that bad to go to Tier 7. You're still going to get a lot of games where you're in a Tier 6, Tier 7 lobby, but you also have the option to get put into Legendary tiers now. And do the Legendary tiers currently pose that big of a change to what the Weimar is known for doing? And I honestly don't think so. I think the Weimar will be just fine at Tier 7. Her DPM is ridiculous. There's actually going to be a consumable she's going to have access now at Tier 7 that she didn't have access at Tier 6, which is going to increase that DPM even further. And she's going to be just fine. That quarter pin HE isn't going anywhere, folks. It's still going to be just as nasty as ever. Why was it so good at Tier 6 and dealing with Tier 7s and Tier 6s? Because it has more than 32 millimeters of penetration on its HE, which means it goes through all of the battleship's armor at its tier. Now, obviously, with Grosic Herfirst, I think, would be the only one that has thick enough armor that it doesn't actually do as well against. But that's it. Everything else, Yami, I think, is still going to get absolutely roasted. And obviously, you still have the fires. So I think Weimar will be fine. I think the calls for everybody that's freaking out that has the ship and saying they want a refund and all of that, I think that'll die down pretty quick. I don't think you're going to see a significant change in terms of performance. I think she'll be just fine. But if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.